Democritus. Democritus, the law philosopher, believed true happiness came from inner peace, not possessions. He imagined our minds like calm atoms and advocated moderation to avoid the misery of chasing desires or fearing death. He even saw kindness as a path to happiness, suggesting joy comes from feeling good internally and appreciating life's simple pleasures. Aristotle, a student of Plato, offered a rich view of happiness centered on the concept of eudaimonia, flourishing through virtuous living guided by reason. He believed true happiness came from developing moral virtues like courage, justice, and wisdom, and using reason to guide your actions. For Aristotle, fleeting pleasures weren't enough. Happiness arose from fulfilling your potential and leading a meaningful life, with external goods like wealth and friendships playing a supporting role. Cynics. The Cynics, led by Antisthenes and Diogenes, challenged conventional ideas of happiness. They saw pleasure-seeking as fleeting and potentially harmful. Instead, they advocated for living virtuously and simply, following nature's lead. This meant rejecting societal norms, material possessions, and social status. They emphasized self-sufficiency, finding contentment with what you have, and living in harmony with nature. Their unconventional ways, like Diogenes living in a barrel, highlighted the importance of inner strength, rejecting unnecessary desires, and embracing a simple life. Unlike other philosophies that valued external factors like success, the Cynics believed virtue alone was the key to happiness. Cyrenaics. The Cyrenaics, founded by Aristippus, took a radical approach to happiness, seeing pleasure as the sole good in life. They prioritized intense, immediate pleasures over long-term considerations, focusing on savoring the present moment. While they advocated moderation, critics argued this approach might be too narrow and neglect other aspects of a happy life. Nevertheless, the Cyrenaics challenged conventional thinking and offered a unique perspective on the role of pleasure in our pursuit of happiness. Pyrrho. Pyrrho of Elis, the founder of Pyrrhonian skepticism, offered a unique take on happiness. He believed true happiness wasn't about achieving pleasure or knowledge, but about attaining a state of tranquility called ataraxia. Since he doubted the possibility of truly knowing anything, he argued that strong beliefs often cause suffering due to unmet expectations. Pyrrho suggested that by suspending judgment and accepting the world's uncertainties, we could achieve ataraxia, a state of inner peace and freedom from disturbance, which he saw as the key to happiness. In essence, Pyrrho believed happiness came from letting go of rigid beliefs and embracing a more open-minded approach to life. Epicurus. The mind behind Epicureanism offered a nuanced take on happiness. He saw pleasure as good and pain as bad, but emphasized prioritizing long-term well-being over fleeting enjoyment. His key was achieving ataraxia, inner peace, by avoiding unnecessary desires that lead to suffering. He advocated for fulfilling natural needs while rejecting unnecessary ones, and for cultivating strong friendships as a source of support. To address anxieties, he suggested understanding death and the God to achieve peace of mind. Overall, Epicurus proposed a balanced approach to happiness, focused on sustainable pleasures, meaningful connections, and overcoming fears. Stoics. The Stoics, from ancient Greece, believed happiness came from inner strength and ethical living. They focused on what you can control, thoughts and actions, and accepted what you can't. Living virtuously, not external circumstances, brought happiness. They acknowledged emotions, but used reason to manage them, building resilience. Their motto, Amor Fati, love of fate, encouraged embracing challenges and finding opportunities for growth. Stoicism, aimed at flourishing, offered a way to navigate life's difficulties and find inner peace through acceptance and virtuous action. Augustine of Hippo. Saint Augustine of Hippo believed true happiness wasn't found in fleeting earthly pleasures, but in a deep and abiding love for God. He saw human desires as ultimately yearning for the divine and achieving fulfillment only through a connection with God. This meant living a virtuous life according to God's will, which would ultimately lead to eternal happiness in the afterlife. Boethius, a Roman philosopher imprisoned during a time of hardship, offered a unique perspective on happiness in his famous work, The Consolation of Philosophy. He didn't believe happiness relied solely on external circumstances. Instead, he argued that true happiness, a state of tranquility even amidst suffering, came from understanding that true good lies within us. Through reason and accepting what we cannot control, we can find inner peace and a sense of purpose, fostering happiness regardless of life's challenges. Avicenna, a prominent Islamic thinker, believed happiness wasn't just about feeling good, but achieving a state of fulfillment for the soul. This required a balanced life that blended philosophical inquiry to understand the world, living virtuously according to Islamic principles, and cultivating a deep connection with God for inner peace and purpose. Maimonides, a Jewish philosopher, believed happiness wasn't separate from fulfilling your religious duties. He argued that true joy stemmed from living a virtuous life, according to Jewish law and performing commandments with an abundance of joy. He saw reason as a tool to understand religious teachings and connect them to ethical behavior, ultimately leading to a meaningful and happy life. Thomas Aquinas believed true happiness was experiencing God in the afterlife, but saw an imperfect happiness achievable here. This involved using reason to understand the world, practicing virtues like courage, and embracing faith, hope, and charity. These steps, while not perfect happiness, brought you closer to God and prepared you for ultimate joy after life. Michel de Montaigne, a Renaissance essayist, saw happiness not as a final goal, but as a journey of self-discovery. He encouraged questioning societal norms, practicing moderation in emotions and actions, finding joy in everyday experiences, and embracing a simpler life focused on inner peace and nature. Through self-reflection and navigating life's uncertainties with a healthy dose of skepticism and acceptance, Montaigne believed we could cultivate lasting well-being and happiness. Jeremy Bentham, the founder of utilitarianism, believed happiness was the ultimate good and the foundation of morality. He viewed happiness as the sum of pleasures and the absence of pain. His famous principle, the greatest happiness for the greatest number, suggested actions should be judged by their ability to maximize overall pleasure and minimize suffering for the most people possible. Arthur Schopenhauer, a philosophical pessimist, believed our desires constantly leave us wanting, creating a cycle of suffering. True happiness, then, was a brief escape from this cycle. He suggested finding solace in artistic beauty, focusing on compassion for others, or even a radical denial of desires through asceticism. Schopenhauer's view focused on minimizing suffering rather than actively chasing joy. Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche, known for his ideas on overcoming limitations, saw happiness not as comfort or pleasure, but as embracing challenges. He believed struggle was necessary for growth and finding meaning. Happiness, for him, stemmed from the will to power, the drive to overcome limitations and express your full potential. Władysław Tatarkiewicz. Władysław Tatarkiewicz was a Polish philosopher who believed happiness wasn't simply fleeting pleasures or momentary satisfaction with things. For him, true happiness was a state of satisfaction with life as a whole, encompassing the past, present, and future. He saw it as a complex feeling that required not just enjoying the good times, but also accepting the inevitable challenges and difficulties of life. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and founder of logotherapy, believed happiness wasn't something to chase directly. He argued that true fulfillment, which he called meaning, came from finding purpose in life. This purpose could be found in various ways, through acts of love, work, creativity, or even enduring suffering with dignity. By focusing on contributing something meaningful to the world, regardless of circumstances, Frankl believed we could achieve a sense of fulfillment and inner peace, even in the face of life's challenges.